Alright everyone, you already know what's going to happen. I had to pull out the Samsung Galaxy Note 9 on you guys and compare it to the Galaxy Note 10. Now this is the Note 10, the smaller variant. This is not the Note 10 Plus. I have that one too. If you guys want to see that comparison, I can go ahead and drop it at some point. But I figured because this was around the same price that the Note 9 released with, I'm pretty sure most people would kind of upgrade to it. Even though in a lot of ways it's a downgrade, I'm going to be completely honest. I just think Samsung did a really weird thing when they actually made the Note 10. I think they should have called this the Note 10e, and a lot of other people are saying the same thing. But this is not a video to bash the Note 10, I guess. I'm not trying to do it, but I guess it'll happen. But as you guys know, the Note 9 actually came out a year ago from this date, so the Note 10 is a successor to it. And in terms of the sizing, I mean, I'm going to get this question a lot. I can kind of tell maybe that the Note 9 is just a little bit bigger. If you can kind of see, I mean, this is pushed all the way to the edge on both sides, and you can see that we have a little bit of bezel here left and a little bit of bezel there. But the thing to keep in mind is that the Note 10 does not really have that much bezel around it, or doesn't really have too much bezel around it. You only have that hole punch display up top, where the Note 9 we actually do have, you know, the top bezel and the bottom bezel. So even though this phone is kind of bigger, it isn't really too much bigger, if you know what I mean. And I'll definitely tell you one huge upgrade of the Note 10 actually is the removal of the Bixby button. I click the Bixby button here 30,000 times a day because I think like it's the power button, but the power button's on the right side. But now the Bixby button is built into the power button, so I think if you hold it, then it turns out, yep, it turns on Bixby, which is kind of weird. I mean, I don't really think too many people use Bixby, but I guess it's whatever. Now looking on the front, on the Note 9, we have a 6.4-inch Super AMOLED display, 1440p, 516 pixels per inch, a very good panel, one of the best panels I've ever seen, to be honest. Whereas on the Note 10, we have a 6.3-inch dynamic AMOLED display. This one is only 1080p, okay, and 401 pixels per inch, and this is what I'll tell you, okay? Now, I don't know if this is like a placebo effect or whatever it is, but I am telling you, dude, the Note 9's display is so much better than the Note 10's, and that's coming from somebody who honestly doesn't even know what they're talking about. And maybe I'm over-exaggerating a little bit, and maybe I'm just salty that they didn't put a 1440p display on this, but dude, if you're spending almost $1,000 on a phone, you should expect premium, like as premium parts as you can get. And I'm not about to sit here and say this panel looks horrible or it's ugly or this or that, but Samsung could have done a way better job, you know, not only improving the resolution, putting out up to 1440p, but also putting a 90Hz refresh rate on this screen. If OnePlus is able to do it on the OnePlus 7 Pro, I'm pretty sure Samsung could have done it on this panel, you know. It's like they took 3 steps backwards coming from the Note 9, you know. That's why the Note 9, I feel like, is such a really good deal, because you're still maintaining that 1440p display, you're getting the high screen pixel density. So I don't know, man, like I do feel like at the core of it, Samsung could have done a way better job. I don't know why they just settled for 1080p. The last 1080p Note phone that we had was the Galaxy Note 3, dude. That phone came out when? In like 2012, 2013? That was forever ago. And that's probably the biggest thing that I'm salty about when it comes to the Galaxy Note 10. It's the panel, but also the removal of the micro SD card slot. So on the Note 9, you do have that ability. You can go increase the storage, and I apologize, I don't know why it's so dark, but you can go and actually increase the storage on your Galaxy Note 9, where in the Note 10, you can only get one variant. That is the 256 gig variant. I don't know why they did that. It's the dumbest thing ever. That was the whole reason of the Note line, was, you know, it was able to bring in so much into a package, and they kept the S Pen, they removed the headphone jack as well, so why couldn't they just have put the micro SD card slot in there? It makes no sense to me at all. In terms of the build quality though, they feel almost identical. As you can see, they look almost identical in every single angle. It's just when you turn the screens on, you can kind of see that, you know, the Note 9 has a little bit more bezel, but it's really not that big of a deal. And I'd be willing to gain more bezel and, you know, keep the bezel on it, whatever, then remove the headphone jack, remove the micro SD card slot, get a lower resolution screen, and that's kind of the vibe that I'm going to go through when this is going on through the rest of this video, to be honest. Now, hitting on the software, technically speaking, the Note 10 is going to last longer than the Note 9 in terms of stock software support. But like I said, custom ROMs are out there, roots are out there, so it could be a situation where the Note 9 will still be getting updates through third-party developers. So I'm not going to sit here and say the Note 9 is going to outlast the Note 10, not at all. The Note 10 will definitely outlast the Galaxy Note 9 in terms of stock software support. But in terms of everything else, I mean, you're going to be set. Like, One UI I think is only going to get better. I think you're still going to get another version or two on the Note 9, but just remember that the Note 10 will definitely last you longer in terms of stock software support. Now that kind of covers everything I wanted to hit on in terms of the outside and software. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of a speed test. I have the same apps on both these phones, and we're going to go ahead and kind of see, you know, which one is faster. Now the Note 10 has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 chipset, an octa-core CPU, an Adreno 640 GPU, and 8 gigs of RAM on all the variants. So there's not like a higher RAM variant or whatever. There's only one variant of the Note 10, so this one has 8 gigs of RAM. where the Samsung Galaxy Note 9 has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 845 chipset and Adreno 630 GPU. And depending on the variant, you either get the 128GB model that has 6GB of RAM or the 512GB model that has 8GB of RAM. This one is the base model. This one only has 6GB of RAM. So now that we have all the preliminary stuff out of the way, let's go ahead and do a little bit of a speed comparison. And I already feel like both these phones are going to be sliding everywhere. I'm going to go ahead and hop out all the apps on both these phones. So let's go ahead and get these things rolled up. Let's go ahead and do BOFA. 3, 2, 1. And they were almost identical. Maybe the Note 10 was a little bit faster, but that was pretty close on both sides. Thank you. 3, 2, 1. I'm going to go ahead and restart that because that stupid Wi-Fi thing. Thank you again. 3, 2, 1. And the Note 10 was just a little bit faster. Not that much faster as I was expecting, but you can tell it was faster. And in terms of the gameplay, they are almost identical as well. This is not that crazy of a game, so I might give the edge to the Note 10 in that example. Let's do Snake versus Blocks. 3, 2, 1. And it might be the case where the Note 10 is just a little bit faster every time you open it. So, I really don't think it's that big of a deal. Let's go ahead and load up some gameplay, and usually sometimes it does stutter in the beginning but it's really not that big of a deal, to be honest. And they're both playing almost identically, and as you can see, I suck at this game, but Temple Run. 3, 2, 1. And again, the Note 10 was just a little bit faster. So, honestly, yes, the Note 10 is the faster device, but it's really not as faster as you might think, or not as much faster as you might think compared to the Note 9. The Note 9 is still an extremely fast device. So, Fruit Ninja, 3, 2, 1. And again, the Note 10 just a little bit faster. The one thing I've been noticing with the Note 10 device though is if you can see, it kind of crops off the top and the bottom. So it's like you have this much display. So even though you have already a smaller display compared to the Note 9, your field of viewing and playing is even smaller because of the top edges that are cut off, which is really annoying. On the Note 9, you can see it takes up that whole display. There's no like cropping or anything. So I don't know, kind of weird. I feel like they could have done a better job. Once game developers actually get into it, they'll probably start fixing it, but for now, that's kind of an annoying thing. Let's do Real Racing 3, 3, 2, 1. And as you can see, technically speaking, the Note 9 was able to get into it faster. Even though we're on two different sets of the game, you can see that, I guess for heavier intensive games, maybe the Note 9 is better. Let's go ahead and load up the camera. 3, 2, 1. And I do think the Note 10 was a little bit faster there. Let's do messages. 3, 2, 1. Almost identical. Phone calls. 3, 2, 1. These are pretty minor. The Note 10 was actually a little bit faster there. Now, I'm not connected to the internet, but let's do Chrome. 3, 2, 1. Okay, that didn't really work out. Now, I kind of want to see some apps like Settings, because Settings, it's not an intensive app at all, but it kind of gives you an idea. 3, 2, 1. Almost identical. Getting into sounds and vibration. Almost identical. Volume. They're almost identical in every sorts of ways you look at it. So let's get into the RAM management aspect. So like I said, the Note 9 has 6GB of RAM. The Note 10 has 8GB of RAM. So technically speaking, this phone will be able to last you better than this phone in terms of keeping apps in the background. Unless you get the top tier model of the Note 9, then that'll be, the same amount of RAM as the Note 10. And as you can see, none of them have restarted yet. Still none of them have restarted. Okay, still the same. Real Racing 3, still the same. So maybe I don't have enough apps open to kind of test it. Yep, they're still doing very well. None of them have restarted yet, that's good. The final consensus, in my opinion, is that yes, the Note 10 is just a little bit faster. I don't think it's, crazy amounts. It's like just a split second. If you're not even comparing them side by side, you probably won't even be able to know the difference, to be honest. Now, in terms of the cameras, I'm going to be making a whole separate dedicated video talking about them. I'm just going to hit on them super quickly. So the Note 9 has a dual camera setup. The Note 10 has a 3 camera setup. You have two 12 megapixel sensors on the Note 9, and two 12 megapixel sensors, as well as an additional 16 megapixel sensor on the Note 10. And without a doubt, probably the Note 10. I think the Note 10 is going to be very, very good. It's going to be better, especially with the features that's coming with this specific phone. But I really do think the Note 9 still holds its own, and it's still a very, very, very good camera in my opinion. The front cameras are 10 megapixels and 8 megapixels, so 8 megapixels on the Note 9, 10 megapixels on the Note 10. Without a doubt, I mean, the Note 10 is going to be better in every single way, but we'll have to wait for the full video comparison, because if I do it here, it's going to end up being like a 30-minute long video, and I don't really feel like doing that right now. Now, here's another reason why I'm super salty, okay? When they upgraded to the Note 10, they decreased the size of the battery. And a lot of people might say, well, you know, it's a smaller phone, they have to do this and that, whatever. If you want a bigger battery, get the bigger one. That is not the correct answer, in my opinion. If they're going to make a better phone, they need to make better parts, bigger batteries, bigger whatever. There's a 4,000 mAh battery on the Note 9, a 3,500 mAh battery on the Note 10, and 3,500 mAh isn't bad, but why do they have to go and decrease the battery size? It makes no sense to me at all. You do get reverse wireless charging on the Note 10, so I guess that's kind of cool, but if you have a smaller battery on here, I doubt you're going to be doing that as often as if you had a bigger battery, or even just put the same size battery on the Note 10 as the Note 9. Technically speaking, in my opinion, you might find similar battery lives on these maybe because of the 1080p display, but this phone also has, you know, higher specs, more RAM, all that stuff to more power. So maybe the Note 9 might be better a little bit, but this phone, if you get it used, has depreciated, the battery has degraded, so maybe, I don't know, it's all up in the air. I can do a separate battery test, but as far as I'm assuming right now, I think the Note 9 might be able to last you longer than the Note 10, which is sad, you know, you're upgrading for a phone for a reason, you know. Now that pretty much covers up everything I wanted to hit on, and to kind of sum up this whole entire comparison, without a doubt, if you have a Note 9, I would say keep it. There's really no reason to upgrade at all. In a lot of ways, it is a downgrade because of the screen, because of the lack of microSD card slot, the smaller battery, and everything I kind of hit on in this video, but if you want the Note 10, go for it. If you have an upgrade, I think it's cool. The hole punch display, the inbuilt fingerprint sensor in the screen, the upgraded S Pen kind of, you know, the cameras are better. I think it's a decent phone. I just don't think it's, you know, I think these are two different beasts, you know. You're giving up a couple things that kind of made the Note line the Note, you know. So if you want to pick up a Note 10 or a Note 9, I'll leave the cheapest ones I can find on Amazon in the description below, so you can get them from there and help support the channel at the same time. But that is pretty much it. If you guys have any other questions or anything, leave it down in the comment section below. Hit that like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. Every single subscriber that we get really does count, so it'll mean so much if you guys could hit that. Also, check out the other links down in the description as well. My Twitter, my Instagram, my second channel. All those links are linked down below. I'd really appreciate if you guys could check it out. But more importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.